My mother-in-law texted me instructions for how to fold towels. So I sent her a video of my husband folding them my way. He said yours take longer. The group chat was silent for 2 days. Let me start by saying this. I tried to be a good daughter-in-law. I really did. But some people don't want peace. They want control. And my mother-in-law, Diane, is one of those people. I live in Lexington, Kentucky, with my husband, Kyle. We've been married for 3 years. No kids yet, just our rescue dog, Jasper. Kyle works in engineering. I'm a nurse. We both work long hours and enjoy the little time we get together. We keep our house clean, we eat dinner at the table, we fold our towels, just not the way Diane thinks we should. Diane is one of those women who sees herself as the queen bee of her family. She runs everything: Sunday dinners, birthday parties, holidays, even group chats. Her daughters hang on her every word. Her husband, he's quiet. Probably gave up years ago. When I first met her, she smiled and hugged me, but something in her eyes told me I was being measured, judged. I brushed it off. Kyle loved me. That was enough. Then the comments started. Little things. Like, oh, you don't use real butter? Interesting. Or, you put garlic in your mashed potatoes. Huh, that's new. Every family get-together felt like an audition. And I was always failing. Still, I stayed polite. Until the day she sent me a text that changed everything. It was a Thursday afternoon. I had just cleaned the bathroom. I posted a quick selfie in the mirror, nothing fancy, just showing off my new haircut. I didn't think twice about the towel in the background. But Diane did. About 10 minutes later, I got a message in the family group chat. That's Kyle, me, Diane, her 2 daughters, Brittany and Tara, and her sister, Joan. The worst group chat in history. Diane, so your bathroom selfie, dear. Towels looked a bit disheveled. Just FYI. This is how we fold towels in this family heart. She attached a full video. No joke. A 2-minute, slow-motion instructional clip of her folding a towel. Step by step. With commentary. First, fold in thirds. Not half. That makes them bulky. Then roll tightly from one end. Always roll. Never fold flat. That's how towels stay neat and uniform in the closet. I stared at my phone for a full minute. Then I laughed. I mean, who sends a towel tutorial? And the worst part in this family. Like I wasn't really part of it. Like I still had to earn my place. I showed it to Kyle when he got home. He rolled his eyes. That's how she's always been. Just ignore it. I could've. I really could've. But I was tired. Tired of the constant little digs. Tired of pretending she wasn't trying to control every damn detail of my life. So I came up with an idea. While Kyle was still standing in the hallway, I said, "Hey, can you help me fold some towels real quick? I want to try something." He followed me to the laundry room. I had a fresh load ready. I handed him one and started folding my usual way, quick, neat, but not Diane's roll and wrap routine. Kyle did the same. I filmed it casually, like I was just capturing a moment. At the end, I asked him, "So, does this way take longer than your mom's?" He chuckled and said, "Nope. Hers takes longer. Yours is faster." Perfect. I sent that video straight to the group chat. No caption. Just the video. Just Kyle, her golden boy, folding towels the wrong way and saying mine was better. Then I waited. No one replied that night. Or the next day. Or the day after that. 2 days of silence. That was a record. Diane usually commented on the weather, shared 3 memes, and reminded everyone about brunch within 24 hours. Then, finally, a message. "Diane, I suppose there are different methods." That was it. No heart emoji. No sarcasm. Just defeat, plain and quiet. It felt good, but it didn't feel finished. Because that towel wasn't the first time she tried to control me. It was just the first time I pushed back in public. And once I got a taste of that silence, I knew I wanted more. The towel thing should have ended there. But it didn't. A week later, Kyle got invited to a quick lunch with Mom. Just him. Not me. He mentioned it casually, like it was no big deal. I didn't say anything at first. But something felt off. When he came home, he was quieter than usual. I waited until we finished dinner, then asked him what happened. He sighed and said, she just wanted to talk. About the group chat. About you. I put my fork down. What about me? She said you embarrassed her. That you're trying to turn me against her. She said it was disrespectful to send that video. I stared at him. You were the one in the video. I know, he said. I told her that. I told her I fold towels like that all the time and it's not a big deal. But she kept going. That night, I couldn't sleep. It was just towels. But it wasn't. Diane wasn't mad about the towels. She was mad I didn't back down. That I proved I could push her buttons without saying a word. A few days later, things escalated. We were hosting a small barbecue. Kyle's family was invited, along with a few of our friends. Nothing fancy, just burgers, beer, and music in the backyard. Diane showed up 30 minutes early. She walked in with a cooler and a stack of folded towels. These are for the guest bathroom, she said, placing them on the hallway bench. Just in case you need a refresher. She smiled. But it wasn't a real smile. It was the kind people wear when they're daring you to say something. I didn't take the bait. I nodded, took the cooler, and walked into the kitchen. After the barbecue, I went to put the towels away and noticed something odd. She had labeled them. Each towel had a little tag pinned to it, marked top fold. Like I was running a towel museum. Kyle saw them too. He looked at me and said, she's doing this on purpose. I know, I said. But I'm not done either. So I started planning. The next week, I made a spreadsheet. Yeah, a real one. I went through all the weird things Diane had corrected me on since I joined the family. Recipes, cleaning, grocery brands, even the way I parked in their driveway. I put it all down. Dates, quotes, times. Then I invited her and Kyle's sisters over for a girls' brunch at my house. I told them it was just us girls. Kyle made himself scarce and took Jasper for a long walk. I made sure everything was perfect. Brunch spread, fresh coffee, even a little centerpiece of white tulips, her favorite. I greeted them warmly. I played it cool. Then, about halfway through, I brought out the spreadsheet. I've been doing some thinking, I said, placing the paper on the table. About how I fit into this family. Diane raised her eyebrows. Oh! I made a list of all the times you've corrected me. About towels, recipes, what shoes to wear, how to load the dishwasher. It's a lot. Tara laughed nervously. Brittany looked down at her plate. Diane didn't blink. I was only trying to help. I know. But it never felt like help. It felt like a test. And I'm tired of it. There was a long pause. Diane looked like she wanted to speak but couldn't find the words. I'm not asking you to like everything I do, I continued. But I'm not going to change how I run my house. Or how I fold my towels. If that's a problem, then maybe we need to rethink how often we visit. The silence was heavy. Tara finally spoke. Honestly, Mom, she's not wrong. You do this a lot. That hit Diane hard. She looked at both her daughters, then back at me. Well, she said, standing up, thank you for brunch. She left without another word. Tara and Brittany stayed behind. We talked for a while. Turns out, I wasn't the only one Diane tried to control. But here's the thing. That wasn't the end. Diane didn't stay quiet for long. And the next time she struck, she went after something way more personal. About a week after the brunch, things felt calm. Too calm. Diane wasn't texting. No random check-ins. No emails about healthy casserole recipes. Nothing. I thought maybe she got the message. Maybe, just maybe, she realized I wasn't someone she could steamroll. But Diane doesn't retreat. She reloads. One afternoon, I came home from work, dropped my bag, and found Kyle sitting on the couch with his laptop open. He looked pale. Not sick, but rattled. "What's up?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. Just turned the screen toward me. It was a forwarded email. From Diane. Sent to his work address. The subject line read, "Concerns about her." My stomach dropped. I read the email twice. It was 4 paragraphs long. Neatly written. No typos. No curse words. Just pure venom disguised as worry. She claimed I had been creating division in the family, that I was isolating Kyle from his roots, and that I'd been tracking her behavior like a stalker, the spreadsheet. She said I showed unstable tendencies and implied I might not be a good fit for a long-term relationship. She sent this to her own son's work email. Kyle was furious. He said he called her the second he saw it and told her to never contact him that way again. That what she was doing was manipulative and borderline cruel. But that wasn't the worst part. The next day, Kyle's Aunt Joan, her sister, called him. Apparently, Diane had shared the email with her, and now rumors were spreading. Diane told the whole extended family I was emotionally aggressive and had threatened to cut off all contact. I hadn't. I simply said I wouldn't let her control me anymore. Kyle wanted to ignore it. Let it blow over. But I couldn't. This wasn't a passive-aggressive group chat message. This was an attack on my character. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I called my own parents. They live about an hour away. They've never liked Diane, but they kept quiet out of respect. I told them everything, every dig, every insult, the tell video, the brunch, the email. My dad, quiet as ever, just said, "She's trying to scare you off. You stand your ground." So I did. I scheduled a family sit-down. Not a dinner. Not a casual visit. A sit-down. I invited Diane, her daughters, her husband, and even Aunt Joan. At my house. Kyle backed me 100%. He even helped organize it. I told them we had something important to clear up before the holidays. The day came. I had a printout of Diane's email. I had notes. I had screenshots. But I didn't use any of it right away. I just spoke. I never tried to divide this family. I've only ever asked for respect. Not obedience. Not silence. Just basic respect. Diane crossed her arms, but didn't speak. You sent an email to your son's workplace trying to paint me as unstable. You told others I threatened you. That's not just petty. That's dangerous. The room was tense. Diane still said nothing, so I asked her directly, "Why are you doing this? What did I ever do to make you hate me so much?" That cracked something open. Diane's face changed. The usual fake smile was gone. She looked tired, older. She muttered, "I don't hate you. I just don't trust you." "Why?" I asked again. "Because you took him away," she said. "You took my son away from me." Kyle stood up. "Mom, I'm a grown man. I married the woman I love. That's not being taken. That's just life." She looked at him like he was a stranger. Joan finally stepped in. "Diane, you need to stop. This isn't about towels. This is about control. You can't run their marriage." But Diane wasn't done. She stood up, grabbed her purse, and said, "You'll regret cutting me out. One day you'll need help and no one will be there." She left. Everyone else stayed behind. Some in shock. Some relieved. I thought that was the storm. But I didn't know Diane had one more move left, one that went deeper than I ever expected. 3 days after the sit-down, we got a letter in the mail. A real letter. Handwritten. From Diane. I opened it while standing by the mailbox. It was short, only a few sentences, but it hit like a punch. "Since I am no longer welcome in your lives, I've made some changes. I've taken Kyle off the joint safety deposit box and removed him from the beneficiary list. I suggest you both start preparing for your own future, since you've made it clear I'm not part of it anymore." I just stood there, the cold Kentucky wind blowing in my face, trying to catch my breath. She'd been dangling money over Kyle's head for years, always with subtle comments like, "One day this house will be yours," or, we set up that account for emergencies." It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough to matter, especially to Kyle, who'd grown up hearing it was a nest egg for his future family. I walked inside, handed him the letter, and watched the light go out in his eyes. "She really did it," he said. "She chose money over everything." That night was quiet. We didn't fight. We didn't talk much. Just sat there, holding hands on the couch, realizing the line had been crossed for good. But something kept bothering me. It wasn't just about money. It was about power. She wanted us to feel punished, abandoned, like we couldn't survive without her. So I made a choice. A hard one. I went to the bank myself. I sat down with a financial advisor and opened up a brand new savings account in my name and deposited every spare dollar we had. I changed our budgeting system. I cut out extras. I reworked our expenses. I made sure every dollar counted. I got a second job, just evenings, 2 nights a week at an urgent care clinic. Kyle hated that I was pushing myself so hard. But I told him, this isn't just about her. It's about us. It's about proving we don't need her strings attached to live our life. Then I did one more thing. I printed out a copy of our new savings balance, small but growing, and mailed it to Diane with a sticky note that simply said, "We're doing just fine. Thanks for the motivation." No name, no return address, just the numbers. That was my last message to her. She didn't reply. Not directly, but word got around. Tara texted me a week later. "She's furious. She said you're disrespectful and ungrateful." I told her you're just smart. She hung up on me. That was the moment I knew I'd won. Not because we had more money. Not because I got the last word. But because I stopped needing her approval. I used to think revenge was loud, explosive, dramatic. But the real revenge was this: silence, success, distance. And one quiet night, about a month later, Kyle came home from work, sat next to me on the couch, and said, "I never thought I could feel this free." I didn't realize how much space she took up in my head until she wasn't there anymore. I looked at him and smiled. "She didn't lose a son," I said. "She threw him away." He nodded. "She did. But now I get to build something better with you." We held on to each other, not because we needed to feel strong, but because we already were. Diane tried to control me with towels. Now I control my own peace. And she's left folding her pride. Alone.